Have you ever looked in the mirror and felt a flicker of disconnect, a subtle unease? It's not about your appearance, not really. It's a deeper feeling, a whisper that perhaps the face staring back isn't entirely you. It's a carefully constructed image, a version of yourself you present to the world, polished and perfected for public consumption. We all do it, to varying degrees. It's human nature, a fundamental aspect of how we navigate society. But what if that mask, that persona, as the brilliant Carl Jung called it, isn't just a tool for social interaction, but a cage, slowly, insidiously, stifling the very essence of who you are? We're not talking about outright deceit here, not necessarily. This isn't about being a con artist or a master manipulator. This is far more subtle, far more pervasive. It's about the subtle adjustments we make, the parts of ourselves we emphasize, and the parts we carefully conceal, all in an effort to fit in, to be accepted, to succeed. Think about the version of yourself you bring to a job interview, confident, articulate, agreeable, or the version you present on social media, successful, happy, adventurous. These aren't inherently bad. They're functional. Oh. But what happens when the lines begin to blur? When the performance becomes the reality, and the authentic self, the quiet, messy, beautiful core of who you are, starts to fade into the background, forgotten even by you? Jung, that titan of depth psychology, dedicated much of his life to understanding the inner workings of the human psyche. He saw the persona not as a flaw, but as a necessary evil, a psychological construct that allows us to function in the external world. He famously described it as a kind of mask, designed on the one hand to make a definite impression upon others, and on the other to conceal the true nature of the individual. It's the face we show to society, our public image, the role we play. Imagine an actor stepping onto a stage, embodying a character. They put on costumes, adopt mannerisms, speak in a particular way. That's the persona in action. But an actor knows they're acting. The danger arises when we forget that we are also playing a role. Consider Sarah, a brilliant software engineer. At work, she's a force of nature, decisive, logical, always in control. She's the one who takes charge, solves complex problems, and rarely shows vulnerability. Her colleagues admire her, her superiors respect her. This is her professional persona, meticulously built over years. But at home, Sarah feels an overwhelming sense of exhaustion. She struggles to relax, to connect emotionally with her partner. She finds herself constantly analyzing, constantly problem-solving, even when there's no problem to solve. The decisive, logical mask she wears at work has become so ingrained that it's begun to stifle her authentic, more sensitive, and playful self. She's living two separate lives, and the strain is beginning to show. So, why do we do this? Why do we create and cling to these masks? The reasons are deeply ingrained in our psychology and societal structures. Firstly, it's about survival and acceptance. From childhood, we learn what behaviors are rewarded and what are punished. We internalize societal expectations, family values, and peer group norms. We want to be loved, to belong, to be seen as good. The persona becomes our shield, our protective shell against judgment and rejection. It's a way of saying, look, I fit in. I'm one of you. Secondly, it's about control. In a world that often feels chaotic and unpredictable, presenting a consistent, predictable self gives us a sense of agency. If we can control how others perceive us, we believe we can control our outcomes, our success, our happiness. It's a desperate attempt to exert influence over an uncontrollable reality. We curate our online presence, meticulously craft our resumes, and rehearse our responses to difficult questions, all in the pursuit of this perceived control. But true control, Jung would argue, lies not in manipulating external perceptions, but in mastering our internal landscape. The danger, however, is insidious. The more we identify with our persona, the more we believe that we are the mask, the more we lose touch with our authentic self. It's like wearing a heavy costume for so long that you forget what your own skin feels like. This leads to a profound sense of inner conflict and emptiness. You might achieve external success, garner admiration. But inside, there's a hollowness, a nagging feeling that something vital is missing. This is the quiet killer. This is the slow erosion of your soul. Jung called this process inflation of the persona. When we become so consumed by our public image, our ego mistakenly believes that the persona is the totality of our being. We start to live solely for external validation, for the applause and approval of others. Think of the celebrity who lives for the spotlight, whose entire identity becomes intertwined with their public image. When that spotlight dims, or their public image is tarnished, their entire world crumbles, because they have no inner foundation to fall back on. Their true self has been neglected, starved of attention, and now it's almost unrecognizable. This inflation isn't limited to celebrities. It happens in our everyday lives. Take the person who constantly seeks compliments, whose mood fluctuates wildly based on external praise or criticism, or a parent who lives vicariously through their child's achievements, pushing them relentlessly to maintain a perfect image. In these cases, the individual's sense of self-worth becomes entirely dependent on the persona's performance. And when the persona falters, when the mask cracks, the person beneath feels utterly worthless. The paradox is that, while the persona is designed to protect us, it can also become our greatest vulnerability. When we hide behind a mask, we prevent genuine connection. How can anyone truly know us, truly love us, if they're only interacting with a carefully constructed facade? This leads to feelings of isolation, even when surrounded by people. You might have many acquaintances, but few true friends who see and accept you for who you really are, flaws and all. This isn't just a philosophical point. It manifests in real, tangible ways in our relationships. Imagine a couple, deeply in love, but where one partner, perhaps due to past trauma or a deep-seated need for approval, constantly tries to be the perfect spouse. They suppress their true desires, their anxieties, their moments of weakness, always presenting a calm, happy, unwavering front. Their partner might admire this apparent strength, but over time they'll sense a barrier, an inability to truly reach the other. Intimacy, real intimacy, requires vulnerability. It requires showing your authentic self, imperfections and all. When the mask is too rigid, when the persona is too absolute, true intimacy becomes impossible, and the relationship, despite appearances, remains shallow. So what's the antidote? How do we reclaim our true selves from the tyranny of the persona? Jung's answer lies in the process of individuation. This isn't about becoming an individual in the sense of being unique or special. It's about becoming whole, integrating all aspects of your psyche, the conscious and the unconscious, the light and the shadow, the persona and the authentic self. It's a lifelong journey, a heroic quest for self-knowledge. The first step in individuation is recognizing the persona. It requires a profound act of self-awareness. Ask yourself, what parts of myself do I hide? What version of myself do I present to different people or in different situations? What behaviors do I engage in purely for external validation? This isn't about judgment, but about honest observation. It's about peeling back the layers, gently, without shame. It's often uncomfortable, this introspection. We might discover aspects of ourselves that we don't particularly like, parts that we've consciously or unconsciously suppressed. Jung called this the shadow. It's everything we deem undesirable, everything we push away. But the shadow isn't inherently evil. It's simply the unacknowledged self. It contains not only our weaknesses and flaws, but also our hidden strengths and unrealized potential. Embracing the shadow, rather than denying it, is crucial for wholeness. Think about a time you felt an intense, irrational dislike for someone. Perhaps they were overly confident, or maybe they were too quiet and reserved. Often Jung would argue, this intense dislike is a projection of our own unacknowledged shadow. We see in others what we deny in ourselves. The path to integration involves acknowledging these projections, understanding what they reveal about our own inner landscape, and slowly, gently, bringing these disowned parts back into the fold of our conscious self. The key is not to abolish the persona entirely. That would be impossible and undesirable. We need a social mask to function in the world. Imagine going to a funeral and expressing your wildest, most inappropriate thoughts, or showing up to a job interview in your pajamas. The persona allows us to navigate social situations appropriately. The goal is to make the persona permeable, flexible, and in service of your authentic self, rather than its master. It's about wearing the mask, not becoming the mask. So, how do we make the persona permeable? It starts with small acts of authentic self-expression. It could be as simple as expressing a genuine opinion even if it's unpopular, or showing a moment of vulnerability to a trusted friend. It's about taking calculated risks, stepping outside the comfortable confines of your constructed image. It's about prioritizing inner congruence over external approval. This doesn't mean becoming reckless or insensitive. It means aligning your actions with your true values, even when it feels uncomfortable. Consider the phenomenon of quiet quitting. While often discussed in terms of work-life balance, it can also be seen through the lens of persona. Many individuals, exhausted by the pressure to constantly perform, to be the ideal employee, are choosing to simply fulfill their basic job requirements, rather than going above and beyond. This can be an unconscious attempt to reclaim their authentic selves, to stop over-identifying with their professional persona. It's a silent rebellion against the expectation to be a work machine. Another powerful tool for individuation is dream analysis. Jung believed that dreams are direct messages from the unconscious, offering insights into our true selves and the aspects we've neglected. They often use symbolic language, revealing patterns, fears, and desires that our conscious mind might be suppressing. Keeping a dream journal and reflecting on your dreams can provide invaluable clues about the masks you wear and the authentic self yearning to be expressed. Remember the quote at the beginning from Jung's Memories, Dreams, Reflections. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. This isn't a destination, but a continuous process of becoming. It's about shedding the layers of expectation and societal conditioning, one by one, until you can stand confidently in your own skin, authentically you, flaws and all. It's a journey that will test you, challenge you, and sometimes make you feel utterly alone, because true authenticity is rare in a world that often rewards conformity. But this loneliness isn't a sign of failure. It's a sign of courage. It's a natural consequence of choosing a path less traveled, a path that prioritizes inner truth over external validation. Friedrich Nietzsche, another profound thinker who challenged conventional morality, spoke of the will to power not as domination over others, but as the power over oneself, the power to create one's own values and affirm one's own existence. In a sense, individuation is an expression of this will to power. The power to define who you are, independent of the masks you've been told to wear. The journey to unmask yourself isn't just for your own well-being. It's for the collective. When individuals dare to live authentically, they inspire others to do the same. They create ripples of change, challenging the status quo and fostering a more honest, more compassionate world. Imagine a society where people are not afraid to be themselves, where vulnerability is seen as strength, and genuine connection is prioritized over superficial appearances. That's the potential, the promise of unmasking. It's not an easy path. There will be resistance, both from within and from without. The ego will cling to the comfort and perceived safety of the persona. Others might react negatively to your newfound authenticity because it challenges their own illusions. But the reward, the profound sense of inner peace and freedom that comes from living in alignment with your true self, is immeasurable. It's the difference between merely existing and truly living. So, I urge you, begin the process. Look within. Question the masks you wear. Embrace the discomfort. Because the mask you wear might be protecting you, yes, but it could also be slowly, silently, killing the person you were always meant to be. The privilege of a lifetime is waiting. It's time to become who you truly are. If this message resonated with you, if you felt that quiet whisper of disconnect, share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's start this conversation, because you are not alone in this journey.